This is the moment of time, and this is the day and the age. We are the branch of the vine, and these are the fruit of his ways. We have been given these signs, approaching the end of the day. Seeking his word, read every verse, praying it's not in your face. Pray that he gives you a taste, pray that he shows you his grace. Pray that you make no mistakes, pray that you're walking in faith, setting the pace, winning the race. Embrace Christ did say, rise again like butterfly. Eternal life, he paid the price, praise Adonai. Elohim, Father God Almighty, El Shaddai. Magnified through him, saved, edified. Jesus Christ made mankind sanctified. Raised back to life, third day glorified. Where do we go to begin? How can we be born again? Forgiven through him for all of our sins, eternally saved and cleansed. For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten Son. For everyone that believes in his name has now become eternally sons of God. Externally full of flaws, we're actually citizens all adopted through his love. Grafted in the vine, turning water into wine. Sons and daughters of divine, servants of the Most High. Elohim, Father God Almighty, El Shaddai. Magnified through him, saved, edified. Jesus Christ made mankind sanctified. Raised back to life, third day glorified. You know where you go when you die, below or above in the sky. Tomorrow's not always supplied, and you will have nowhere to hide. There will be nowhere to run, facing the wrath of the sun. It is the will of God that none shall be lost, no, not even one. And everyone that looks upon the Son will overcome, and through his grace have eternal life and not succumb. And just as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, the Son of Man lifted on the cross can save every one of us. Elohim, Father God Almighty, El Shaddai. Magnified through him, saved, edified. Jesus Christ made mankind sanctified. Raised back to life, third day glorified. Dig up the truth, switch up the fruit, no simulation. Everybody's root, bearing the fruit, no hesitation. My pursuit is absolute, there's no dispute, no imitation. Can't refute his contribution through creation. All foundation, not religion, but salvation. The culmination, perfect plan of his formation. The sounds of angels as they sing in celebration for the day of his return, for his final revelation. Elohim, Father God Almighty, El Shaddai. Magnified through him, saved, edified. Jesus Christ made mankind sanctified. Raised back to life, third day glorified.
So I didn't do my timer quite awesome. It's still saying a minute 30, but I'm going to go ahead and start talking to you guys. I've got new software, and I think I've got it down today a little better. So let's see how it goes. Ark, are you there? Can you hear me?
I am here. Excuse me. If
Good.
You can hear me.
I can hear you, and we might have had a little lag at first, but hopefully we're caught up. And I have this new software, and I get excited about little things, but I even have your name underneath you.
Wow, that is fancy. I'm gonna have to get with you and see what you're using here. It's nice.
These, it's just little things. These are the little things that I get excited about, and especially that I'm not totally messing things up, because it happens. Like one time I had an echo and I couldn't figure it out. And it turns out when you get a Mac, which is what I now have, praise the Lord, when you get a Mac, it will connect your phone. They're so smart now. So it was starting to use my phone as the vocals, and so it was completely echoing through my phone and through the regular mic. And then another time it used my camera, and I thought I was muted, and I'm all walking around making noise, and people are like, what is all that noise? And I'm like, can't be me. So anyway, trial and error.
That's hilarious.
And how have you been?
Well, very professional. That's great. Doing good. Just hanging in there, trying to actually get out. Neo actually came down. My brother came down for a few days and visited, so we went out and about and did some metal detecting and looking for relics and whatnot, and took the kids out, so I had a good time doing that. But by the end of the day, he was supposed to come out to my house to do a podcast, and he never showed up. I think we were too tired from hiking all around. So
you didn't find any gold and silver with your metal detector?
Not this time. My son found a little partial Arrowhead and some different chippings and things like that. I mean, lots of junk, you know. But we went out to an old place. There were these rock houses out near Westfall, Oregon. So
Hmm.
pretty interesting.
I want a metal detector, and they have these, as you know, probably they have all these fancy ones that you can detect any kind of metal you want to. You can make it specific to the metal
Yeah.
and underwater.
Yes. Yep. Yep. It's something I'm definitely into. We've got a dredge and a metal detector and all the gold panning stuff. And my parents have a little cabin up near Sumter, Oregon, which is a mining town. So eventually we want to like get our hands on a little claim and just, you know, do it for fun as a family.
Absolutely, I would love to have a metal detector, and it's something my dad and I have talked about, and I think we forgot. So I need to remind him because my dad does the gold and silver business with me, which I think
Nice.
is a really fun thing that we have together. And since he would be into metal detecting, and that'd be really fun for our kids. You have one kid or two or how many?
I have three kids
Three.
actually. Yeah.
See, I've never
Yeah.
asked this of you. It's so rude of me. Did they enjoy
Oh, that's
it?
all good. Yeah, yeah. Actually, we back in November we went up to Sumter, and that Sumter, Oregon, is where they filmed one of the people on the Gold Rush episode this last year, Fred Lewis, and we
Okay.
actually met Fred Lewis and his team, and he allowed us to go on the Gold Rush on the actual claim there and do some metal detecting, and I found a little tiny piece of what I thought was gold,
Uh-huh.
and I posted pictures. I found some color and everything, but then when I went home and tested it, it wasn't. So it must be. It looks like it's all squished. So it must be like a piece of bronze or something that got squished because it's really shiny gold, but it's not. It's not. When I did the testing, it's not real gold. So
Marie says iron pyrite, maybe. I have something though, speaking of gold, you guys. I've never held this in my life until yesterday. I'm going to show you guys because this is a big deal for me. Don't look at the mess behind me. Don't look at it. Oh, you can't see it. It's blurred for you. Okay, this is a full 1 ounce of gold. And it is my
oh,
first
nice.
full 1 ounce that I've ever held. And it is mine for now. It may be sold to pay for my kids' Christian private school in the fall,
Oh wow,
but that's
beautiful.
kind of what it was for, was to save dollars in a way that I can't. If I put money in a savings account, I generally spend it. But when I put it into this kind of thing, and this is, I saved up, and when I say I saved up, our company allows you to, it's not focusing, allows you to put money into an account for gold. So I can put $50 in if I want. I can put
Hmm.
$100 in. I put in money up until it reached the 1 ounce, and then I said, okay, now send it to me. So I
Nice.
got it.
Cashed it out.
I cashed it out sort of. I didn't cash it out with cash because I would have lost a
Well,
couple
yeah,
hundred
you don't
dollars.
want to do that. I mean, that's just it. Yeah, you got the actual real value of something there, and it's going to increase in value hopefully over time. So,
This might get sold though before the fall. Like I said, my kids, they got into an awesome, it's 1 ounce genetics. They got into an awesome Christian school that is one class per grade, but it's private, so it costs money. And so part of this was going to go to that because I was thinking I was going to buy a bus with it, but that's going to get put off for now unless I get my refund. If I actually get my refund from the evil IRS, I can afford all these things. But back to you. Okay, so you, I know you have the old newspaper stories on Facebook, and I don't think I probably check it that often, but you blew my mind when recently you were on Canary Cry News Talk, which I would love to give shout outs to. I love to give shout outs to that
yep,
show. It's so good. They're so
they're great.
entertaining. They've got a good sense of humor. They make me laugh on a regular basis, but they cover what Gon says is egregious news from biblical views, I think he says. But
No, that's good. Yep.
you went on there and it was a great show, and we're going to talk about some of those same things, and I'm glad you don't mind kind of going over the same kind of stuff because it's amazing what we don't know from this original Spanish flu and the
Yeah,
masks and things. So anyway, if you want to mention how that came about that you got on there, and are you going to be going on regularly with them?
yeah. That's kind of what they asked me to do. So I sent them a new list of newspaper stories. So that's kind of the plan. I kind of when I went on there, showed them some of the best stories that I found that were really, really fascinating. And that's kind of what they do on their shows, go through a lot of news topics, the weekly news or whatever. Well, this is kind of going to the ancient news that is relative to what's going on today. So that's kind of what I try to do, is look for things that are relative for what's going on today, but then in ancient, not ancient times, but in older times,
Ancient
and
to some of
so
us.
yeah. So it's really fascinating. So it's like one of my songs, Nothing's New Under the Sun, that we do at Destiny Lab. It's really is like that, because when you start digging into these subjects that you think nobody's ever talked about or brand new, like the pineal gland and the third eye, some of these kind of modern trends, you find that this stuff has been around for thousands and thousands of years. And as a matter of fact, back in like the 1800s, early 20s, they were really open about a lot of like the stuff that they became more guarded about later. Some of this occult stuff, mystical type things, the secret societies, all this kind of stuff. I've got dozens and dozens of stories about the Bohemian Grove, where it actually tells who's performing at the Bohemian Grove that week. What plays will be going on, who's attending, what food, and all these kinds of things that they just published in these San Francisco newspapers that were close to the Grove area there. So it's really fascinating how this stuff was just kind of above people's head, or people were really so interested in the Freemasonry. It was such something that was so integrated into people's family and society that it was really looked up to. A lot of people were into these sort of occult mystery schools and secret societies. It was the big thing, and there were lots of people doing seances, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, anyway, it's really fascinating. So Neo had created that old newspaper site on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
And so,
which is your brother, in case anyone doesn't know.
Yeah. It was my brother who I do our podcast with, Digging for the Truth with Ark and Neo. And so originally we were looking at just the stories about giants and all the giant bones that have been dug up. And then I started looking at all this other things, and I'm like, man, this is awesome. This is a whole podcast in itself. And one of the things I thought about is doing like an actual coffee table book, an actual book to print out all these stories. You could browse through and read all these old newspaper stories, but I'm not sure what the, there's copyright issues there of taking, newspaper and reprinting them. But
rather than having to look at microfiche, which is what you've done, right? Yeah. You guys have looked through microfiche to get this stuff.
Yeah, correct. I mean, for hundreds of years, they've had many of these old newspapers on microfiche, but it's only been recently that they've developed technology that will actually search out keywords. So they have algorithms now that actually can go into these printed pictures and search keywords. It's not like they have PDF files or anything like that, but they have technology that can basically read these newspapers and then algorithms that attach these keywords. So it's really interesting, because where before you would have to spend just thousands of hours just digging through random newspapers and hope you come across something interesting, now you can actually search up, specific things. So it's really cool.
Okay, so Brenda says she knows it's Canary Cry News Talk, but what was the name of that show? And I have to say it was probably, it's just going to be the way they title it is usually based off of the articles they're going to cover. So the first hour, they did their normal thing where they cover whatever recent articles and stuff that they go through. And a lot of it's like flippy robot stuff and AI technology and sometimes Nephilim news if they've got it. And then the second hour is with Ark, but I'm sure that his name is included in the title because I knew that you were on it, so I'm sure that they must have included that in the title. So how long ago was that? Maybe 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, it's probably 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Yeah,
I can't remember if they include my name in it or not.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I was only in the very last hour of the program, so.
I am sure they did because I knew you were going to be on there, and I was bummed that you weren't in the first hour because I was listening live and I was like, I gotta wait. But I was cleaning an apartment with my landlord that day. So I work with my landlord and help clean apartments. So I had plenty to do, and I was able to listen to the whole thing, and it blew my mind. So we're going to blow your mind today, guys, with some of this information. And you are going to go on, you said, every month. Is that correct, that you're going to be on Canary Cry News Talk on a monthly
Well,
basis?
of course, that's up to them, of
Okay.
course. But yeah, when I contacted Gons back on, definitely would like to do this on a regular basis. We'll be getting back with you. And then I sent him a follow up of a bunch of new newspaper
Okay.
stories along with these mask stories and stuff. So, but I haven't heard back from them yet. So I know they're busy and got lots of stuff going on. So
They
we'll see. Hopefully it'll
are
fall into
hard
place.
to get a hold of. They are hard
I
to
think
get a
the
hold
more
of.
people that request it, the more people reach out to them and request, hey, we want more old newspaper stories with ARC. You know,
I'll do that.
The sooner it'll happen. So yeah, anybody who wants to hear more, go ahead and give them a shout out.
I will do that. It's hard though. I got their attention for an entire month because I gave away an ounce of silver. So for 3 days a week for a month, they said my name at the beginning of every show and during the break time, and that was exciting because it wasn't so much that I wanted to. I'm not trying to get a bunch of subs, but what's exciting is I have been wanting to like talk to Gons ever since I found out who he was, or just or whatever. And now I'm kind of at a point where that's cool. I don't need him to notice me or talk to me, but it's just fun that I had them say my name three days a week for a month. I'm like, yeah, now like they'll never forget it. I'm sure. I doubt they'll ever forget my name after that. But there was a winner, and
Nice,
I just finally shipped it out today. I kept worrying. I was like, this guy, is he going to claim this silver? Because I'm just sitting here with it, like, so anyway, that's my little bit. But when I would email them, it took forever to get a response. So I don't know that I have these articles in order. So is there an order you want to go in?
I think it's just from the top, I think and there's no real specific order. I kind of put them in order of the date they were published, to be honest, is all I did. And, the first one from 1918 is kind of it's fascinating because before they actually were passed any laws, and it's why not make all wear masks is the title of the
okay, I'm on November 8th.
The article.
I'm on November 8th, 1918, so maybe that's the wrong one.
Yeah, no, that's it.
November 8th?
November 8th, 1918, yep.
Okay.
And then title of the article is Why Not Make All Wear Their Masks?
Why don't I see that?
I
see influenza has begun decline. I bet there's another one. Let me look again.
There's another little ad, there's another little...
I just have them out of order. I'm going to start... Nope, that's January 4th, 19...
No, it's on the same page. It's on the same page as the influenza has begun to
I see it.
decline.
I see it.
It's just a different article.
There it is. I see it now. I got it. And I'm zoomed in on it. There it is.
Yeah, it's just a tiny little tidbit. And it's kind of interesting. Like I said, nothing's new under the sun. It's not only that pushed for people to wear masks, but the tactics that they used are exactly what they use today. You'll see here one of the first steps is always, of course, shaming and name calling, and you'll see that straight up in the story. It says the name of the title of the story is Why Not Make All Wear Their Masks. There are people riding on interurban cars who refuse to wear masks because they think it looks foolish or unnecessary and josh others who are observing the sanitary regulations. Smart Alex, so to speak. So there's the name calling, Many have been seen in the Snohomish interurban. Men congregate in hotel lobbies without masks. There are instances of wise guys ignoring the health board's order. And it's all, in quotes, wise guys and smart Alex, These are the names we want you to start calling these people,
Yep.
Like Karen, the Karens of
Totally,
they try to call
exactly what we're
the
going
anti-mask. Yeah, they try to call the people who won't wear masks Karens, but it's really the people who are trying to force people to wear masks are the real Karens, in my opinion.
Totally. And then, there's smart Alex, or, you might need to make them feel bad, which is funny because I feel like I want to do that to people wearing masks, but I can't do that because that's not loving.
Well, and here's the next tactic they use. So not only do they shame the people who won't do it, they praise the people who do it. So the very next line says, there are a lot of wise people in this world of this kind to employ a physician and then do the, oh, no, sorry. I think I misread that. I was thinking that they were saying that there are a lot of wise people who actually wear their masks, but
Well, they
they're
are
using
probably
wise
wise.
as in, well, I think they're using wise as in the wise guys, kind
Oh,
of making
yes, I
fun of it.
guess they are.
There
Who
are a lot of,
employ a physician, but then do the opposite of what the doctor orders. And the doctors are going to be
exactly.
ordering vaccinations, right? Most assuredly.
Well,
Okay.
I'm sure of it. I mean, they're going to say, oh, we're not going to force you to do it. You just can't do anything without your vaccination. That's all. You can't buy, sell, or go anywhere without a vaccination. I mean, you don't have to get one if you don't want. I mean, if you don't want to have a job or eat or go anywhere, I mean, it's up to you. You still
That's
have that
right.
choice.
That's right. But if you do get your vaccine, you'll get a free donut every day for the rest of the
Yeah.
year.
Oh my gosh, that's just so gross. I saw that
It
and just
is
like, yeah,
gross. So
the
unhealthy.
incentives.
So unhealthy. Oh, hey, Gina, haven't seen you in a long time. Okay, so I noticed that you have another article with a little bit of highlighting. So is it the not article on the same page? Influenza has begun decline, or is that what you want? Is that what you want to go over
Uh,
next, or no?
yeah, or I mean, masks cover many faces
Oh,
is I think
okay.
the next one from 1918.
Is it on the same page, or are we doing a different one?
No, it's a different one.
All right, I'm on
But
October
I
20th.
titled it,
Sorry.
yeah, October 20th, 1918. Yeah.
All right, I'm just going to find it. Gauze masks now cover many faces.
You want to try to read this one?
Sure. Influenza
Okay.
preventatives looked curious at first, but seem sensible now. Those white gauze masks that are making Washington daily appear more and more like an aggregation of benevolent highwaymen looked curious and unsightly when they first appeared. They seem mighty sensible now. Nothing can look very funny once people get used to it, and once its usefulness is
Mm.
established. Both these processes are simultaneous and rapid here. There is not the slightest doubt, say hygienic experts, physicians, nurses, and public officials. I threw in health, that was me. That these queer masks will do a lot toward making Washington's influenza epidemic, quote, turn the corner, end quote. Looked gruesome at first. The first masks noted, strapped across the visages of soldiers on an ambulance whizzing out 16th Street toward Walter Reed Hospital, looked a bit gruesome. They had been mentioned and even described in print, being a long-time specialty of the ever thoughtful Red Cross. Oh, they're so thoughtful. I love Red Cross. They're just so sweet.
Mm.
Actually, to
So
see
thoughtful.
actually to see them for the first time, however, was startling. The first general contingent blossoming forth in them was the omnipresent small boy, skimming on skates or bicycle, delivering papers out of school and out in the fresh air all day, and probably less in need of a mask than any other one class of Washingtonians. However, we all know small boys and their tendencies, and while the masks were undoubtedly worn for purposes of self-thrill, they probably were good things even on downless, chubby chins. Oh my. Boys unprovided with the real thing used blue polka dotted handkerchiefs or any old substitute because that's fine. But don't worry, 25,000 from Red Cross. Soon they call them muzzles. Soon the white
Yep.
muzzles
Muzzles.
appeared on many human faces in many places. Oh, that rhymes. Behind counters, on elevators, at ticket and stamp windows, and even on the customer side of the counter. The Red Cross furnished 25,000, and these were all instantly put into use. Thousands of others have been made at home. Yep, making them at home. Oh my, this is amazing.
This doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, in response to the request of the district health authorities and of the public health service, these too have been put to use as preventives against contagion. That the Army authorities in charge of the operation of the experimental gas station out Wisconsin Avenue near Tenleytown are taking this request seriously is evidenced by the thousands of military and civilian employees of that big war activity, men and women who are wearing the ghost-like masks. ordered to
Yes.
wear masks. All cars on the Washington Railway and Electric Company bound out Wisconsin Avenue toward Rockville this morning were filled with soldiers and civilians employed at the experimental station, all wearing the masks. A mandatory order requiring this was issued at the station yesterday. There are employed there between 3,500 and 4,000 soldiers and civilians, and a larger percentage of whom work out in the open, only the large clerical force working inside. So there you have it. Nothing new under the sun, literally, right? What do you have to say, Ark?
Yeah, exactly. Nothing new under the sun. It's kind of there's both sides to the debate. Even back then, there were the people that just like, oh yes, we must wear the mask. It only makes sense, and then there are the people that refuse to do it. And some of these people, it's very fascinating. Some of these people got ill from wearing the masks.
I
and the people
bet.
that didn't wear the masks totally did not die from the disease. So, what does that tell you? We're kind of hearing that same thing today. But it's another thing that's interesting is where these masks were made, which is on the next one. But you were going to say something?
I don't know what I was going to say. I don't remember. It'll come to me later.
Okay. We'll see the one titled Masks Made at Masonic Temple Headquarters.
I'm on October 6th, 1918. Is that the right one?
Yeah. Yep, that's it.
Okay, let me find where you are. Food officials. No, not a Turkish harem. Best friend of airman. South after big war profit for its cotton. Spanish flu might be avoided. It's blind.
Right under the picture of the ladies there sewing the masks.
Okay. I don't see those words, but I see the picture of the ladies sewing masks, and it says way of
I'll
political.
Read it here.
Okay.
Because there's a whole start, and then it starts getting into this, but it says as these women all standing there knitting their masks away, and it says after Red Cross workshops in the city are closed with the exception of the Masonic Temple headquarters.
Yes.
All Red Cross headquarters in the city are closed with the exception of the Masonic Temple headquarters,
there it is,
where Spanish flu masks are being made with great speed to supply the needs in local hospitals and residence cases of the Collegiate Alumni Unit. Mrs. Walter E. Silver, chairman of the Surgical Dressings Department, is chief flu mask making director.
Oh, good for her.
To give these people these titles, stroke their ego.
You have a role in this world.
That's right, saving the world. Work started early Saturday morning. As soon as the first masks were completed, the women themselves doomed them to complete their work. That way they could, completely virtue signal while they did it.
Saving the world.
Mm-hmm. This is the first means in which the Red Cross workers are able to cooperate with health authorities in Omaha in combating the epidemic, as requested yesterday in advices from the Surgeon General Blue. Anyone needing flu masks may obtain them by applying at Red Cross offices in the courthouse. If practical, the Masonic Temple workrooms will be kept going in order not to interfere too much with getting out the much-needed surgical dressings, but all women will be required to wear the flu masks. All other workshops definitely closed until further notice. So kind of interesting that the only place open and the foundation of where these flu masks are being generated was this Masonic Temple headquarters.
Well, I guess I did have the right article, and it's so funny because it says at the top, not a Turkish harem, but Red Cross Workshop Unit making flu masks.
Oh yeah, that's hilarious.
Not a Turkish harem, don't worry. It's just the Red Cross, again, being the good doers that they are, and masking up. And yes, the only place to stay open is our Masonic temples, and they just weren't hiding anything. That's what you said. You said that a little while ago. They were much more out in the open with this stuff.
And there's not a lot of worry about hashtag Me Too back then. They're very politically incorrect, you might say, in some of these articles. It's against, with everything, the men, women, racism, when they talk about children, it's just very matter of fact. Let's say.
And then there's this quarantining will not stop the Liberty Loan Drive. So they were quarantining then too. They were telling people probably stay
Yeah.
home, that kind of jazz. Stay home and
Yep.
stay safe. And it is a little different now because you said something about this. It was newspapers back then and not the internet, but
Hmm.
very similar way they were very similarly treated. And yet the Spanish flu actually, whether it was the flu itself or the masks or technology, a lot of people actually did die that time, but they're not dying this
Yeah.
time,
A
and yet we're
lot
still
more.
falling for it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot more people were dying back then. I mean, it's not that, there isn't a smart time to wear a mask. That's not what we're saying. But the enforcement of this and the tactics they use, like we were saying, where they shame people who don't do what the government says and then praise the people who do and give them all these titles. And it's just very interesting how they just repeat these exact same tactics. And what's also interesting is a lot of these articles are about people who refuse to do it. So there was the flip side of the people who put this to the test. There's the article there that says barber pays $10 for not wearing a mask, and it's
Oh,
just a small little thing. Barber forfeits $10 for refusing to wear a mask. James Saris, a Greek barber in the Marion Hotel barbershop, was arrested yesterday on complaint of Detective Chambers and Special Officer for persistent refusal to obey the health order, which requires that barbers wear gauze masks while attending their customers. And so
at least he wasn't
that,
arrested.
yeah, he wasn't arrested, just fined, but it makes me wonder, how did he get all these, how did he even have any customers? If they were so worried about him wearing a mask or not, he shouldn't have had any business. It sounds like he was doing just fine.
$10 would have been a lot back then too. That wasn't like $10 to us today. I'd have probably been like,
Yeah.
sure, here's $10 that I don't have to wear a mask. But that would have been, and the barber forfeits ten. Okay, I was thinking somebody, for some reason I was hearing it that somebody paid $10 to not have to wear the mask, but that was his fine.
No, yeah, that's his fine. Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Interesting.
there's one that says, let's see here, many arrested for not wearing mask. And this is November 30th, 1918.
Okay, hold on, I'll find it. There I am. Got it. First arrest made for not wearing masks.
Yep. So this goes into, again, shaming the people who will not wear the masks and kind of putting out there to the masses, hey, this is a warning. Look, we will arrest you. We will fine you, and not only that, we will shame you. Put your name in the paper so everyone knows who you are. So
Well, this guy said he was immune, was arrested for appearing on the street,
mm-hmm.
but he was taken in. He declared he was immune from the flu and would not wear a mask. Which is funny because everybody wants to cheer on Ted Cruz right now because they think he totally gamed the reporter when the reporter asked him to wear his mask, and he goes, "We're all inoculated." I'm like, "Oh, so he's admitting he got a vaccine of unknown origins, so he's okay. He doesn't have to wear his mask." Which sounds like this guy. I'm immune.
Well, I think that's what a lot of people thought. I mean, they put commercials out there that were like guys dancing in the street. Yes, I'm going to have my date to get the influenza or get the vaccine, and once I do, everything will be back to normal. Well, that's not the case. Obviously, you still got to wear your mask. Only one mask, got to double down according to Fauci. So it doesn't matter whether you got the vaccine once, twice, or not. You're still got to wear a mask.
Yeah, and you're still going to pass it to your grandmother. So what is the point? Like, why does anybody?
What's the point?
Why would anybody get it? But yet there's people in the gym class that I go to, and I'll mention there was a gal that she came in one day and she's wearing the mask, and I said, you don't need to do that anymore, because a lot of us are really kind of on the right side of a lot of Christ followers and stuff in this boot camp that I go to at the gym, and she goes, oh, I know, but I have to be careful because of blah, blah, blah. Whatever reason, she has to be careful. And I said, well, they don't do a darn bit of good. And she goes, oh, you don't really think that? Like, she kind of laughed at me. like, how could I possibly not think that these don't do good? And I'm like, well, they don't do good. She's like, well, I work in the medical field. And I wanted to say, I understand that because I worked in the medical field, but here's the deal with the medical field. If you've ever scrubbed in on a surgery, you have to super wash your hands for like five full minutes or something. It's a very long time. It's not just the 30 seconds they tell you to do on
Yeah.
your own. It's a full
Hmm.
like scrubbing arms all the way up to the elbows, all the way up to here, and then you have to put you either have to somebody put the mask on or you already have the mask on because you can't touch it.
Hmm.
You cannot touch it once you're scrubbed in.
Which is what people do all day long. Adjust their
Constantly.
mask over and over and over again.
Yeah, if you are in a surgery and you touch your mask, you're out of there. They will kick you out. They'll say, go and scrub back in. Do another 5 minutes of washing. Get new gloves, which somebody else they have to put you in the gown, and they tie your gown for you. They put your gloves on for you because they're already scrubbed in, so they can do it. Because you can't put your own gloves on because you're tainted. And
Yeah.
so if you're in surgery and you touch a certain area, there's an area that you can't touch anything outside of. And I
Hmm.
like a tool dropped and I almost grabbed it one time. And they're like, no, because it was outside the area. If you touch your face, you got to scrub back. It's not like you're in trouble. It's not. I mean, I guess it depends on the surgeon. There's some pretty hardcore surgeons out there, but you will have to scrub out and back in. So when
Yeah.
like you just said, people are touching their mask constantly, and you're going to tell me it's working because you work in the medical field and that's what they do in the medical field? No, it works because you're using a sterile environment with sterile knowledge and understanding.
Yep, yep, exactly. And not only that, they take their gloves off, their gowns off. I mean, every time they walk through a door, literally visiting a patient. So
Yep.
it's on another level, And so um, it's ridiculous. Most of what we're doing is complete symbolism over substance. It's complete virtue signaling and political role playing. Basically, people are LARPing.
Well, shout out to Jesus Freak
Okay.
Computer Geek because I'm going to show you this shirt. It says, "Without face, it is impossible to please God," which is like based on without faith, it is impossible to please God. And it's got the person without the mask and all the rest with
Oh,
it.
nice.
And I wear this
That's
places.
great.
And I went to Sam's Club a couple weeks ago with this shirt on, and I was so pleased to see a lady with her young kids not wearing masks because it bugs me more to see the kids in masks. And the young girl who had looked about 12 looked at my shirt and she goes, "Amen." And I was like, "Yes, yay!" Like that is so awesome. So that it's worth. I'm not trying to, as much as I want to try to. I'll be honest. I do want to shame people for wearing masks, but I have to love them where they are. And instead
Yeah.
of shaming them, I have to hope that they'll lovingly understand that this isn't me judging you, but hopefully it'll spark conversation. But so far it hasn't.
Yeah.
But
I
anyway,
just support
yeah.
the businesses that don't force you to do it. There's some
Yeah.
businesses in our town that are all crazy. You need a mask, and then other people that won't say a word to you. And those are the businesses I support. And a lot of people don't know it. I went in a grocery store the other day that doesn't say a thing, and but yet probably 70% of the people were all wearing masks
Yeah.
anyway. And a lady saw me without a mask. She's like, "You're not wearing a mask." I'm like, "Why should I? The mandate's over,
Right.
And she's like, "Really? They don't make you wear masks here? Then I'm not wearing one."
Oh,
She pulled it off.
good.
So I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." I thought she was
Yeah,
all
you thought
mad
it was
at
going to
first.
go the other way. You thought you were going to
Yeah.
get harangued for that one.
Yeah, so that was cool.
Okay, well, I've got it back on the screen of these articles. Tell me which one next we should talk about.
Let's see here. So one that's interesting is mask laws repealed because people refused. 1919. So this is January 10th, 1919.
October, February. I got January 4th, 1919.
Mine says January 10th, 1919.
Let me keep looking. Because like I said, I went out of order. I just opened them all. Oh, watch, it'll be like the only one oh, here, I got it.
Okay.
And
So it's all the way to the right. Barbers no longer need face ornament.
face ornament. Yay. Call it what it is. At least you had some real, journalists back then. But anyway, yeah, go ahead.
And I like this one because this one is only a couple hours from where I live. This is in Pendleton, Oregon that this happened. So it says, Council by unanimous vote repeals section of ordinance giving offense. So this shows you what happens when we, the people, speak up and refuse ridiculous laws or ridiculous mandates or ridiculous ordinances that put forth. It's up to us what happens. And if we refuse it, they will change, guaranteed,
Right.
just like what happened here. So
That's right.
it says restaurant men were confronted by trouble from employees. The provision of Pendleton's new flu ordinance requiring restaurant waiters, barbers, dentists, and the workers and a number of other occupations to wear flu masks while engaged in their work was repealed at a special meeting at the city's council held last evening. The meeting was called by proclamations of Mayor Vaughn, and the proclamation stated the meeting was called for the purpose of repealing that part of the ordinance providing for the wearing of the masks. And then it goes on to say enforcement of the ordinance threatened to close a number of restaurants and dining rooms through the refusal of waiters to wear the masks and quitting their jobs rather than to do so.
Good for them.
So that's what it takes. That's what it takes right there. It takes the actual people to stand up and to refuse to do it. The doctors of the city did not uphold the ordinance. In fact, themselves refusing to wear masks, and the restaurant workers and others required to wear them use this as leverage, taking ground that it was not a proper requirement. The trouble yesterday, however, was precipitated by the arrest of Louis Pinson of the office lunch for failure to wear a mask. Since the repeal of this case, this will be dropped, of course. So
That's amazing. Well, doctors today are like want to give you every reason why the vaccine's okay for you. It's good
Yep.
for you. And not every doctor, so no offense to any doctors or PAs.
well,
or
why
nurse
weren't these
practitioners.
doctors into it? Why weren't these doctors then telling people to wear masks? Some of them. So, and like I said, it's not everybody, but many doctors refused to wear masks themselves because they knew they saw firsthand people dying from wearing these things and not cleaning them properly and not wearing the proper type of material or whatever it may be. So here it goes to show, what happens when we, the people, stand up. They will change. When people are threatened with their businesses being shut down, they're not going to enforce ridiculous ordinances.
Which is why it drives me crazy that so many businesses here, even though there's no more mask mandate, they're still making their employees wear them.
Yeah,
And that upsets me.
Exactly.
I'm like, come on, why are we making employees? The mask mandate's
Exactly.
over. If I owned a business, I would say, guess what? You don't have to wear them anymore. We're done. We're done wearing them.
yep. And that's why even if I have to go into a place where I know they make you wear it, I still act dumb. I walk in there
Right.
and and then when they say, sir, then I say, the mandate's over, right? Just to
Right.
let them know. And they're like, oh, I know, but I wish, but our headquarters says we still have to do it. And they're like, oh, well, sorry, you lost my business then, So
Gina
It's-
makes a good
it's,
point. She says a lot of doctors nowadays get money, and that's why they go with it all. And that's absolutely right. In
There
fact,
you
they're
go.
not testing for anything else
absolutely.
but the FOVID. They're not testing for anything else. That's all.
Yep,
They're not testing for
yep.
flu.
And they're testing multiple times to get that multiple incentive checks that they're getting.
Yep. And
It's ridiculous.
Marie says they're probably getting vaccine kickbacks. My mom got sick with something. She just didn't feel good. She didn't have a fever. She had a cough, like runny nose symptoms, but she didn't have a fever. She didn't have body aches. She just was really tired and kind of out of it. So she sounded more dehydrated than anything. Like she really sounded like she needed fluids or something. But they tested her for COVID, of course, and they said, that's what you have. That's what it is. And we're going to give you this treatment, and we're going to do. And they gave her some treatment that the immunoglobulin thing, but they didn't offer hydrochloroquine. They didn't tell her to drink tonic water. They didn't tell her to build up her immune system. They got kickbacks from diagnosing her with COVID, and it was funny because I think my dad tried to say, he's like, why are we testing for this? And then my mom's like, whatever, it's fine. And so he's like, fine, you're the one visiting the hospital. But I think they were going to try to test my dad too. He's like, nope, I don't have
Yep.
symptoms. Get away from my nose.
Walk away. My body, my choice.
Yeah, right. Which makes me wonder what we're going to see with the vaccines, because Flights already are trying to make it that you have to have a vaccine to fly, even in America. So sometimes I just don't want to think about it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, we may be the end of family vacations unless they're just within driving distance, you
Right.
know.
And I want my kids to fly. I was thinking maybe this summer I'll try to come up with a trip we can fly, even if we have to wear the dreaded mask, because my kids, they're not going to care if they can fly. It's going to give them an
Yeah,
experience that they haven't had except for when they were babies, so they don't remember it, and they would just love it. I don't know anyone who owns a private plane, so until that happens, we might just have to suck it up and do it before the vaccines are required, because we even got our passports. And what good are those going to be if we have to have a vaccine to go anywhere?
yeah, yeah. Neo did quite a bit of flying during the epidemic, and he said it was great. Him and his wife did some traveling, and you go to your and so in that regard, you didn't have very crowded planes, and they would still fly places. So
Yeah, that'd have been a good time to do it, to be honest. And I had to get over some of my anger, my own personal anger, though. So, and I'm definitely there for the first few months. So I didn't stop going places. Like I didn't. These people all stayed in their home for some reason. A lot of people really did. They did that. But we still went to the parks. We still went places. But if I had to wear a mask, I really tried not to go anywhere that I knew would probably try to wear a mask. But what I found over time is that I've been blessed probably that nobody bugged me about not wearing a mask really anywhere. Only
nice.
only one place said I had to wear a mask, and they were very nice about it. And I said, "Well, I'm just waiting for something, so can I wait outside?" And they're like, "Yep, that's fine," and that's it. So I've been very blessed that
That's
nobody has
cool.
bugged me about it.
That's cool. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's kind of hit and miss, where depending on where you go, I think. But it seems like most people are over it at this point.
I think so too. Okay, what else have we not covered yet?
Okay, so speaking of doctors, go to Only Doctor Who Lived Did Not Wear a Mask, is the title of this. So, February 6th, 1919.
All right, I'm on February. Yep. Who is who? People who do things. Hold on.
And this is just a very, very small snippet. It doesn't even look like it's like literally a paragraph all the way to the right, about halfway down. It says, during the height
Yep, there it is.
of the,
Got it.
yeah. And it's just a one sentence thing. It says, during the height of the influenza scourge, one of the battleships in Yorktown Harbor lost through the disease every medical officer on board except for one. This man, it is declared, was the only one of the officers who refused to wear a protective mask while attending patients. So
If that
take
doesn't
that
tell
for what
you
it
anything,
is.
come on. Like, he's the only one who.
Every doctor died but him.
From the flu, right? Or do we even
Yeah.
know? They don't say. They just say they
So
died.
this is similar to kind of what Trump did, where he had this battleship brought in New York Harbor or
Right.
somewhere like that, and I don't think they ever even ended up using it. But
Right. Because not enough people were dying.
well, yeah, Cuomo sent everybody to the old folks home.
Right.
So
That's right.
But yeah, that's kind of interesting. There, it tells you, I mean, these are historical facts. So I mean, take for it what you will.
I
And
want
then
to
we've got.
I want to
Oh,
mention what
yeah.
Sherry says real quick because
Mhm.
this is a great idea. Sherry says there's a company trying to plan trips out of the U.S. without V passports, and she says she thinks maybe I don't know if she's saying Catherine Austin Fitz brought it up or if she's part of the group doing that. But wouldn't that be great if you had any ability to do flights to be like, well, we're gonna how many you would have a good I think you'd have a good number of people flying on your airplane if you said you don't have to have a vaccine, we'll fly you.
There you go. I mean, that's what people need to be willing to, businesses be willing to put their necks out like that. Come to our restaurant, no need for a mask. Come to our grocery store,
Yep.
no masks required. But I think they're so afraid to be canceled. They're so afraid of the shame. They're so afraid somebody to come in and shut them down. They just comply whether they like it or not.
Okay, yeah, what's next?
Okay, so back to the people that refused. Here's one where a guy got shot for not wearing his mask. And this was October 29th, 1918.
Yep. Okay.
And it's all the way down. Refused to wear gauze mask is
Yes.
shot down.
Oh my gosh. So there was still some of this going on. Okay, go ahead.
How about you want to
Yeah,
read
I
it?
can. Yeah, it's
Yep.
my turn.
Your turn.
Okay, refused to wear gauze mask is shot down while scores of passersby scurried for cover. H.D. Miller, a deputy health officer, shot. He's a health who has been trying to take over these things, or the health officers of town. I don't know if they're police, if they mean police in this one, because they obviously had a gun, but anyway, health department people have always been trying to control this. Anyway, this guy's a deputy health officer, shot and severely wounded James Wisser, a horseshoer, in front of a downtown drugstore early today following Wisser's refusal to don an influenza mask. According to the police, Miller shot in the air when Wisser first refused his request. This is nuts. Wisser closed in on him, and in the succeeding affray, what a good word, was shot in the arm and the leg. He just didn't take one shot. I mean, he went after him.
Twice.
Wisser was taken to the Central Emergency Hospital where he was placed under arrest for failure to comply with Miller's orders. Wow, talk about nothing new under the sun, you guys. Jeez.
Yep. So yeah, we're we're living in the time where this has happened before. So in a way, it kind of gives you a little bit of hope because
It
people are
does.
like, well,
That's
we'll
true.
never be back to normal. It's like, well, they kind of went through this and then people got back to normal. It sounds like, because everybody that I know never even remembers this, And my grandma lived through this time. She actually just recently died. So she was 102, but she was. Her sister died from the Spanish flu, so she was very close to what was going on there.
And back then, there really, apparently, from what we can understand, there was a lot of deaths, probably due to this flu. What's crazy today is what they're capable of getting away with very little deaths. It's crazy.
Exactly. People were actually dying back then. I mean, and like I said, I mean, if I knew there was something where 15% of people were dying, which is, kind of what was happening in some of the areas there, I would be sure, wouldn't be going anywhere. I mean, I would be smart about it. I wouldn't want to get sick. I mean, but if you really want to be serious about it, you should not only wear a mask, you should wear gloves, surgical
Right.
like all these people really do. If you're that,
And you
afraid
got
of
to
it.
take all that off before you even go in your house and sanitize all your food and your boxes
And ideally, you should go nowhere. You should be running from anyone that's around you if you're that scared. If there was, really something that scary going on, and I really don't see that. I see people kind of going about their business, their mask hanging off their nose, but they're still just playing along. So
There was something I was going to say to that, and now I've forgotten. Again, Sherry says mob shopping with no masks may help. Like, that's not a bad idea if you've got a group of people willing to go with you places. I think, and there was a standoff recently outside of a store for 2 hours, and the cops finally let the people in without masks. I don't remember where it was, and I know it was covered by Brian on High Impact TV, whatever he calls his channel. I know Brian's not everybody's favorite because he can be, kind of over the top negative, but he covered it, so I'd have to go look. But it was a 2-hour standoff with anti-maskers. I hate to say anti-maskers, it's just pro fresh air people, and they stood outside a store long enough and cops were called, but eventually they just, for whatever reason, they said, fine, go in, because there wasn't maybe enough of them, or who knows. I'm not sure what the conversation really that they had was, but
Yeah. I mean, I think that's really what it takes. It takes people just standing up, refusing to do it, and then things will change. And here's another example of that. Here's from February 26th, 1920.
okay.
And this says, "Don't like masks." Positive is the title of the article.
Yep.
Don't like masks. Positively refuse to wear them in theaters. February 22nd. Masks as protection against influenza germs are not the least bit popular in Barnwell, according to the telegram received at the State Health Department yesterday from A.B. Patterson, chairman of the Barnwell Health Board and Health. The chairman wires as follows. The local Health Board has passed regulations with regard to influenza requiring the wearing of masks in theaters and barbershops. Patrons will not wear the masks. Advise me how to compel them to do so and enforce these regulations. Dr. C.V. Aiken, Assistant State Health Officer, communicated with Barnwell with regard to the matter, and it seems that the town has not been quarantined. School children, it seems, wear the mask as precautionary measure against the disease unless the disease becomes prevalent in Barnwell. So it sounds like there just weren't a lot of people getting it in this particular area. So people are like, why would I wear a mask? Nobody even has it.
Yeah.
The state health authorities will probably act only in an advisory capacity. Masks were worn to some extent during the fearful epidemic in 1918. So this is 2 years after the real height of the epidemic. They were still dealing with mask enforcement. But they somehow gave the wearer a slight dissipated appearance, and some of them were such size that the wearers seemed to suffer from a toothache, and unmasked pedestrians would sometimes be inclined to poke fun at the wearers, asking such frivolous questions as, who hit you in the jaw? Masks also caused no little inconvenience to tobacco smokers, and to see confirmed chewer attempting to adjust his mask while expectorating, I don't know what the word is, was a never failing source of amusement to wayfarers. So when somebody spitting their chew out, basically.
Ew, expectorating. Let's look it up. It probably means to spit or something.
To spit. Yeah, I would think
Cough
so.
or spit out phlegm from the throat or lungs. Very
There you
nice
go.
way to say that. Yeah. Expectorate. So toothache, that's interesting. They talk about mask mouth. That's something that dentists were, I haven't seen that in a while, but I saw that at least halfway through this, that they were seeing things that looked like meth mouth, but they called it mask mouth because people were getting
Breaking out.
tooth problems. Teeth, like meth teeth looking stuff from the masks. Like something was happening with their teeth. There was dentists reporting that at one point. I haven't heard it in a while.
Wow.
So maybe it was
That's
fake
weird.
news. I don't know. It could have been fake news. I can't prove it. I just know it was covered by Paul Romano from Pockets of the Future. And I think while he's not a Christ follower, he's kind of into this weird new agey stuff. He does good research. So I think if he was covering it, it was probably, at least it was a legitimate article at the time. And some dentists reported that, interestingly enough, that they were seeing teeth problems that looked like meth teeth. From
Interesting.
masks.
Yeah, it may be like from lack of oxygen or something, breathing in,
Breathing
carbon
in
dioxide. I
garbage.
don't know. Huh.
But like you said, the acne, definitely we've seen people getting infections breaking out, getting infections on their face, all that.
Yep, I've definitely heard that. So the last one here is kind of interesting. So, they've used shame, they've used praise. Now, then, what else do they use? They use
free donuts. Get a beer,
free
get
donuts,
some weed,
get some free incentives, and then they also use media and music and all the famous people and all that. Well, and here
lots
in
of songs. Yep. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, songs, things like that. Exactly. All the famous people are all doing their part with their commercials, wearing their masks, and it's just so gross. But here they were into writing poems about masks.
Yes, this is great.
So yeah, you should read this
I'll read
one.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
Wear your mask. I say the influenzas come to your house to stay. If you do not wear your mask to keep the germs away, they will get upon your collar and crawl into your nose. But the doctors say they surely cannot get into your clothes. Well, that's why you can make your own mask. Sorry.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Why should I need to have a fear is a question you will ask. But the flu is sure to get you if you do not wear a mask. Don't hang your mask upon your neck, nor yet upon your ear. See that all the time.
Yeah.
And hung like whiskers from your chin, it certainly does look queer.
Yeah.
Be sure to wash it frequently, for there are germs upon it, and sterilize it religiously before you try to don it. Then tie it firmly at the back. It is no easy task. This is amazingly horrible.
Yeah.
But be sure the flu will get you if you do not wear your mask. So obey the regulations and mind what you're about, and do your bit, yes, all of it, to put the flu to rout. No matter if it interferes in talking with your girl, or if it dims your eyes and sets your head a whirl. Don't worry if you're dizzy because of the CO2. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
we're almost done here.
Yeah, exactly. About to pass out.
Just stick to regulations is all there is to ask, for the flu will surely get you if you do not wear your mask. Oh, what do you know? QAnon wrote this. Just kidding, it says Anon. Wait, I thought we canceled Dr. Seuss. This is very Dr. Seussy.
Totally. Yeah. It's like, it's like the wrap of that day, day and time.
Right.
But it's interesting how they use the scare tactics, use the praise tactics, and they use poems even. So wow.
Yes, it's a little bit better than Cardi B. Not a lot.
yeah, not a lot.
But it's very Dr. Seussy, so I'm sure I do enjoy part of it though. Don't hang it on your neck and not on your ear,
Yeah.
because I see that all the time, and they hang it on
That's
their
hilarious.
chins, and I call it the chin bra. I do. I call it. It's like, oh, is it like giving
Chin
you guys
diaper.
support? Chin diaper,
Yeah.
chin bra. Brenda says bacteria trapper, and there are people at the gym. I'm not joking. They are at the gym with it hanging below their chin while they walk the track, and I'm like, why?
Of course.
Why?
Yeah. Or the one I like is hanging from one ear, like just this virtue signal. I'm good. I still wear a mask. Trust me, I still wear a mask.
I'm ready to put it on at any
It's hanging
moment.
right here. Exactly. I'll put it on any moment. Hang it from my ear. It's just ready to go.
Any
And they
second
literally
now.
do podcasts. Guys, I see people do podcasts like that, hanging from their ear, like just. Oh,
I had
so
to give a
ridiculous.
guy a hard time who's in one of the businesses I'm in, and I don't remember his name, so it's not like I'm going to call him out, but I probably would if I could think of it, because I even said on his video, I go, bro, are you wearing gloves? Like, he was wearing blue gloves on his video, and I'm like, and a mask, and I was like, fine, wear a mask. Seriously, like, fine. I'm not surprised even, because people are wearing them in their cars, whatever, but I'm like, but are you wearing gloves? Like,
Yeah, in your own house.
in your own house, in your own. Can you
Yeah.
imagine if I was masked up right now? I don't even have anything. I don't have masks at all, so I can't even joke about it. But he's like got his gloves and he's talking and using his hands, and I'm like, bruh, like you lost me.
Dude.
You lost
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. Well, here's the ultimate new virtue signal: is the nose masks.
Yes.
You
Oh,
seen
I'm
this?
so glad you brought that up. Yes.
I mean, that has to be somebody making that as a joke just to burn them. It has to be just like some psyop.
It's called Nosy. One of them.
Yeah,
There's different
Nosies.
ones. There's different ones. And there's
Mm-hmm.
a HIPAA filter Nosy nose mask that you just wear on your nose, and of
Mhm.
course it's very. I'm gonna show this. Hold on. It is
You must have saw
very.
the same video I saw.
Did you watch? I watched it with Mark Dice.
Yeah, yep, that's it.
So it's
He's
very
great.
European looking. It just sits on your nose and is a HIPAA filter. Excuse me, I can't talk. And so you can buy that. It's lovely. You can get new filters for it on a regular. I mean, these people are modeling it like this is an okay look.
It's the latest, greatest thing.
Like-
And then they got another one that goes up into your nostrils, like
Up
it's two
in your
separate
nose.
little,
And
yeah,
then
little
there's also
tiny
the-
filters.
Yeah, and you can different sizes. Yay! Don't worry, you've got
Yeah.
different sizes for your nostrils. And the guy's like, I feel like I can even breathe fresher. And I was thinking, and I said this in my Discord channel. I said, these people act as if God didn't make us to be capable of doing this ourselves with, I don't know, the nostril hairs and the mucus that are
Yeah.
in there already.
There
Hello.
you go. Yeah, exactly.
Sandra
We
says
are fully equipped.
it would be laughable if it wasn't so sad. But here's what I say, Sandra: if you don't laugh, you cry. So you might as well laugh about it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's a very cool thing, the Nosy, and very European looking. So you know, buy one if you think you're
the
cool
latest,
enough for it.
greatest. I mean, I wish I would have thought about it and put it out there. I mean, that's
Right?
that's what I wonder. It's like, are these people really serious, or are there people just like, oh, I bet they'll buy this. I'm
And they
gonna do it. I'm gonna do
You
it.
know, people. Did you see how expensive the ones were that people in China were wearing? They were like $500.
Oh my goodness.
He was scrolling through. He's like, people in China have already been doing this. It was on Mark Dice, and I shared it in the Discord. If you guys didn't, if you're in the Discord, you can go see that. Angel Marie says it looks like a pyramid on your face. Good point. But yeah,
Yeah.
he was scrolling through the prices, and I was like, $500. These people are $500.
They're appealing to the elitist, ultra liberal, super rich.
Well, my social credit score is going to be like really low, so that's not going. Oh, you kind of went. Oh, there you are. You're back. That was weird. You glitched like to the side, and then you came back.
I pulled a Biden.
Yeah, green screen. That was another funny thing. Oh my gosh. And I was listening to Gons and Basil argue about whether they thought it was a green screen, and Basil didn't think so, and I'm like, it had to be. Why else?
I don't get that. But then again, I wonder, like, how could somebody? I mean, if you're working for the president and making his green screens, you would hope they would have the best of the best people.
Right.
And it's like that doesn't seem to be what's happening. How could they just not miss? How could they miss that?
It was
I don't know what to think with that.
quite bad.
Weird. Yeah.
And I'm not an expert. I've done editing, but I'm not a green screen expert, so I couldn't really say when it comes to that. But it was very interesting, and from multiple angles even, and the mic's in different places, and I'm like, maybe they just green screened the mic in. But one thing that nobody said that I noticed, have you ever noticed in a green screen you can see on the edge of people, there's always a little bit of weird activity around the edge of them? Well, he had that. You could see that. There was this weird activity.
Sharp edge.
Yes. But nobody said anything about it. And I was like, I saw that, but nobody's saying whatever. What do I know? I'm just a amateur.
Deep fake.
Or it could have been that. It could have been a deep fake. Maybe it wasn't even, he was CGI'd in as a computer. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, because some of these things, there's got to be a reason as well. Why? What's the point? What's the point? What happened during this scenario where he said these 2 or 3 words and then got a helicopter? Why would you go to the point of doing a green screen for that? Just to maybe throw him off that he's going somewhere else in a helicopter? I mean, I don't know. There's got to be a reason behind it too. So, like I said, it looked almost like that the microphones themselves were CGI'd in,
that
too. So I mean, I don't know.
That could be.
I don't get
and
it.
Again, I'm not of the QAnon. I'm sure I'll get one of those tags below. I mean, we've been getting them every Friday, this little QAnon wiki below my videos, even when we don't mention it. I am not a supporter. I am not for that. So, but I don't think, I'm not pulling the QAnon thing where it's like, Trump is really president right now, and Biden is not. And I'm like, if that was the case, then why is the pipeline closed? Why are people losing jobs? Why is all these other things going on that are really horrible? Why did we bomb Syria?
Yeah, I mean, it's great to have positive positive thoughts, but yeah, at some point we gotta be also realistic. Like you said, there's got to be a cause and reaction here of if Trump's in charge, then why aren't we seeing all these things get better? Why are we seeing it get worse and worse and worse? I mean, in my opinion, this may be one of the best things that could ever happen for Trump is for Biden to get in office, because it's like, oh, okay, you want a chance to see all these people want to see how the left would do it.
Yeah.
Here you go. Let's watch what happens. And so far, wow, are they not doing a good job? Wow, is their press secretary hilarious and circling back around with every question and not able to answer anything.
Yes.
And Biden just in the basement. I mean, no wonder he couldn't get out of the basement. He can't get up the stairs, right? So that's,
Well,
or maybe he was chewing bubble
he took
gum
him
at
a
the
little
same time.
fast. He got a little over the top excited taking up those stairs by running up them. I don't know what he was thinking.
Yeah,
But
he thinks he's much younger than what he is, I think, trying to show off. He's one of those type of guys that comes, hey, man, I'm really cool.
Come on,
he thinks
man.
he's
Hey,
some
Jack.
young, hip, cool guy. And he's like 80 years old. He's just delusional, I think.
It's a very odd choice. It was a very odd choice for them to make and to push through, and I don't think I'll ever understand it. I feel like I can do much about it except be prayerful. And it's really funny because people love to talk about how prayerful they were for Donald Trump, but we have to admit that we should be praying even for these leaders. And it's hard because I don't want to go, dear Lord, turn Joe Biden towards you and let him see your truth. But what I can pray is I can pray that God is in control and I can understand that. I can handle that, and I pray for our leadership to change or to see things differently. But it's not like I got to
Well,
pray
what we should be
specifically for them.
praying, yeah, is that we pray for our leaders to be used for your will, God.
Right.
And whatever God's will, it
Even
may
better.
be to make a fool of himself, so we can, actually see doesn't work. Actually, convince maybe a lot of people that throwing money at things and government socialism and communism is not the way to go.
Yeah, I
And some of the
remember.
best people we need to listen to are the people who actually experience this from Venezuela and all these other
Yeah.
countries that actually have gone through it.
And I remember what I was going to say from earlier. I was going to say we
Ah,
can see from this stuff, from the old newspaper stuff, that it is cyclical. It is something that
yeah,
people, every generation wants to believe they're the last. Everybody who says, "Oh, he's coming," Jesus is coming in September of 2023, or some people thought it was last September. Some people thought it was December. Some people think it's April. A lot of people want to come up with a timeline and say, "Well, this is it. It's our generation. We're going to see him come in our lifetime." And they've been saying that
yeah,
for 2,000
yeah,
years. And I'm not saying he
exactly.
won't come. I don't know. But what I do know is these things happen in cycles, like you just talked about.
Hmm.
And things did go back to normal. It's hard to say, but things changed because of what happened in 1918. But we also went through many years without masks again. And while
Hmm.
they might be trying to push a vaccine, if we push back enough, they will not get to a place where you have to have it to go anywhere, where you have to have it to. They can try that, but it may not work out because people pushed back then too. So it's possible that people will push back. So instead of saying, you know what, it's over, no one's going to push back, we might as well give up and just complain about it all the time. We can
Yeah,
certainly still be prayerful. We can do like
yeah,
I forget who said it. Sorry, it was Sherry, I think, that said get a group of people that go out without masks if you need to, make you one at least feel better, but two, push back a little. And remember that these things are not new. That was not the first time we've seen this. It's definitely. What do you think people thought when the first vaccines came out? There were probably people very much against those too. They were probably thinking Mark type of stuff. And in fact, you can go back where a guy, I don't know if he was a Rothschild or a Rockefeller. I'll ask my buddy tomorrow night at NPC, but he brought it up that I know it's not blurry behind me, Brendan. Yep, the girls are walking around, but he brought up that they were trying to make the vaccine become just such a thing, but until it happens, we can't just sit back and go, well, this is it. It's our time. We're supposed to continue working. We're
yeah,
supposed to continue our purpose for the Lord and be prepared, but be prepared for His coming, not prepared with a bunker full of bullets and a bunch of
yeah,
food that we're going to hide out in the Armageddon. We've got to kind of be out there in it. We've got to be out there
exactly.
trying to pull people out of the fire. Like the book of Jude is right before the book of Revelation, and it says, persevere, having compassion for some while pulling others from the fire. And that is the last part of the book
Mm,
of Jude before it goes into Revelation. So that didn't say hunker down in a bunker with your food and your family and
yeah,
stay out of it.
yeah, yeah. No, great point. Great point. I think there is a lot of that give up, that attitude, and there's no more we can do. We need to just, yeah, get your bullets and hunker down. And well, I think we definitely need to be prepared for anything. A part of that anything could be great revival, could be turning
Right.
this whole thing around.
Yes.
It could be, getting rid of abortion, could be all these
Yes.
things that we really need to do as a nation, and if we repent as a nation, I mean, which I think that's the crux of the issue, I think, is abortion. The fact that we are
Totally.
literally sacrificing millions of
Mm-hmm.
babies, and people we as believers are letting that happen. We've got to put an end to abortion and that
Mm-hmm.
sacrifice. I think that's a huge thing upon our nation, from God's perspective. That it's just like Moloch, sacrificing the children to Moloch
Yep.
back in ancient times. It's no different, and people are just, these are children being killed. What's the difference?
Yep.
There's no real difference except for that people saw it back then. And I've got a song about that kind of compares it to, if a tree falls to the ground and there's no one there to hear it, doesn't make a sound. It's kind of like
Yep.
abortion. There's no one there to hear the screams of these
Right.
babies So, oh, it doesn't exist, whatever. But
Yeah.
if you were to see these babies thrown into the mouth of Molech screaming, you think
You'd
people would
rethink it
stand for
then.
that?
No
We'd
way.
have the left on our sides at that point, right?
Right.
So, and that's happening. We are literally seeing people on the left waking up, feminists even, and a lot of people who are for women's rights, saying that, yeah, we're for women's rights, but we're also for the women in the the stomach. Those are women too,
Right.
So that's something to be pointed out, and God can turn things around and turn a whole heart's nation around. If he can fool people into accepting abortion, you don't think he can convince people the other way around that it's evil? I think someday we will look back at abortion and look at it like, the Colosseums of gladiators. Like, how did that happen? How was there a civilized, or something that claimed it was civilized, society that was literally killing babies openly, because women didn't want to have a baby because of, birth control.
Yep.
And I think part of that, of uh, getting rid of abortion, is really emphasizing the greatness of adoption. How many great stories there are to parents that are out there adopting kids. There's a lot of people looking to adopt kids. So when people say, "Oh, there's nobody that even wants them," that is not true.
Absolutely
There
not
are
true.
all kinds of parents who are looking for kids to adopt, and so much so they've got to go to other countries to do it. So that's ridiculous that people that push these narratives. But anyway, I'm kind of rambling here.
I think it's good information, and you're exactly right. And there's so much more we could still be standing up to in these. Whether it's been in times since Jesus came back with the Holy Spirit. It's been in times.
Yep.
So we just keep working, and like you said, prepare for any of it. Yeah, like
Yep.
as best as you can. So learn to garden, right? Definitely, if you've got a well, that's great. If you can do solar energy, that's great. But also, one thing I told people when I started this a few years ago, because I had to tell myself this, is don't freak out and feel like you've got to do it right now. I've got to get food. I've got to get water. I've got to learn how to do satellite or solar energy. I've got to learn how to do ham radio today. Like it's overwhelming if you do it like that. Just know that the best first thing you can do is buy gold and silver.
Yeah, good point. Or find gold.
Or go out and find it, yeah, But I also know a place where you can buy some, and get the best price. And also, regardless of that, just one thing at a time. I've stored some food now. Now I've got solar. I just bought my solar panels, and I'm getting a shed that I'm going to put them on. All awesome. Little things. And a year ago, if you would have said, "Well, Aaron, you're out of time because the end is in September of 2020," then I might have been the type of person that's like, if I listened to that, I wouldn't have started to do any of this. And then I would have been sitting here going, wait a minute. It was supposed to be over by now. And I didn't do anything.
I tell you, I can't tell you how many people have emailed me. I'm sending you secret information because I know this date, this is what's going to happen, Never has it happened.
The Lord told me.
It won't at some point, and that there aren't true prophets, but there's a lot of false prophets right now.
Oh my gosh. In fact, what's sad is I was listening to BDK earlier, and he's on the Omega Frequency, I think is the name of his YouTube channel. And he's a pastor and everything. And
he's great.
Okay, good. He found an atheist who put together a great now, while it was mocking, of course, because it's an atheist, it was sadly a great compilation of all the false prophets over the last year. Just so bad. I mean, some of it was so cringy. I was like, I said,
they're so sure of themselves.
I'm like, this is a well done video though, because it just bit by bit, this atheist that put it together was more biblically sound than quote unquote Christians. The guy actually referred to scripture that says what would happen to a false prophet were they to. Yeah, he always includes Dana Coverstone. In fact, he did a big thing on Dana Coverstone specifically. But this compilation was from an atheist, so it was just whoever he picked out, which is from some of the mildest to some of the craziest. There's some guys trying to speak in tongues, and he just sounds like he's making it up as he goes. But very well done, sadly, by an atheist.
Yeah, no doubt. It's like my song "Whom Do You Serve," which you know well, which you made the video for. I say, the very hour that he will not. What is this? How does it go now? I can't remember my own lyrics.
Well,
For those
you're on the spot.
setting dates and times, take heed and listen. The very hour we think that he will not return, the Son of Man cometh, which is what the Bible says. It'll be the hour when everyone will be saying, "Where is this second coming?" It'll be actually. It sounds like after a lot of people have been told over and over and over again, there's going to be a second coming, there's going to be, and then it never happens. That's what it sounds like. A lot of false prophets have been telling things. So people are standing up and saying, people have been saying this since the beginning, and yet it's never happened. That's when Christ will return at some point. So it's when the people least expect it, not when they are going to expect it, is what it sounds like.
Well, if you compare it, I saw a great video that I didn't do, and I don't know the person that put it together. I think I found it on Christian Video Vault, and Christian Video Vault, it doesn't make their own videos. The guy has a channel that he does make his own videos, but Christian Video Vault is what it sounds like, a vault for a lot of good Christian videos, and they put up a good one that explained the Galilean wedding, and that Jesus was talking to people who would understand the nature of that wedding, and that wedding was, it just goes through it completely. And I can find the link and share it on the Discord, guys, because it's like a 2-hour video, but it's so worth it. It goes through all the little steps of the wedding. And one of those things is that it was up to the father when the wedding was going to occur. So the bride and her bridesmaids had to be ready that any night, that they could be woken up, and the groom as well, that any night. And they had, once she agrees to marry him, they have to spend a year apart. So they know that there's going to be this amount of time that they don't get to be together until the wedding ceremony. So that's like that waiting period, right? That waiting period while the groom is away from the bride. And there will come a time when the father decides, and you won't know, the father will decide now is the time, and it's probably going to be in the middle of the night all of a sudden. So the bride and her bridesmaid have to be ready, and the groom has to be ready for a ceremony at any moment once that 1 year is up, because they don't know when it's going to happen. So it's a really good comparison why these people would have understood exactly what Jesus was promising, and that would have happened, and he would have returned in such a way that, like a thief in the night, or why we have to keep our lanterns ready, why we have to be prepared, but also working in our purpose, because they weren't supposed to just sit there and wait.
Yeah.
They were supposed to keep doing
busy.
Yep, they were supposed to keep busy and doing their jobs, and they're fulfilling their roles. So anyway, I'll have to share that again. Great video. Anyway,
Awesome.
We're on an hour and a half, so yay us, we really went for it. Anything else you wanted to say, or did we cover all the articles, or did we skip any?
I think that was all of them, at least from the mask perspective. Like I said, I've got dozens and dozens of other articles on other subjects that we can always talk about as well. So hopefully we'll be able to do some more on Canary Cry. And hey, if not, you can always hit me up. We'll just right?
I can always steal you, or I can just hijack and say, I know you already covered it over there, which is kind of what I did. It was so great. I wanted to cover it again, because we do, regardless, we have different people that listen, different people here versus people at Canary Cry. I hope to pull some of them over. I don't think I got very many, but I think I got a couple. But I am very different from Basil and Gone, so it's not like you're going to get the same exact thing over here. It is a bit different, but I appreciate you taking the time to not only put that stuff together, but to talk about it and prepare yourself to do things like this and be on my little channel. I love it. It's very fun.
Absolutely. No, I think, I love that you're a female, that you're out there doing that. It's great. I think that that you have that calling, because you don't see that many females in the truther movement. It's just always these kind of, different guys. But so I think you definitely have a niche that you are filling, and that God has called you to do this. So you're doing a great job.
I hope so. I realize, and I'll say this real quick, I'll let you go, but I realized recently that I had been stressing out so much about whether I'm doing, that I forgot to sit back and have some peace and joy and just be in my day.
Very important.
And so for the last few days, I've been feeling a lot better about that. I'm like, okay, I need to quit worrying especially when I read stuff like we're in Genesis and we're reading about, first we were reading about Jacob and his, just going back through the patriarch. And I'm like, gosh, these people were such messes, and all the lies and all the cheating and all the taking things into their own hands. And yet they were the very lineage that Jesus would come through.
Mhm.
some of the, Judah being amazingly horrible, and yet this is the lineage that Jesus would come through, and it makes me feel a lot better about
Yeah.
how I'm doing.
Yep. Yep. I mean, we always are having ups and downs, but that's what brings us closer to God in the end. And in the end, we get stronger and stronger, and until we're taken home someday. But yeah, none of us got it figured out completely. But yeah, part of that is definitely enjoying, the day-to-day life, enjoying our kids, getting out there and doing things, and just relaxing, taking it easy, taking our mind off these things for a
Yes.
while, because it can be
Yes.
overwhelming. So that is awesome, and definitely something we all need to do.
Well, would you be willing to close us out in a prayer, and then I'll close us out with
Sure.
music?
Oh, absolutely. Dear Heavenly Father, I just thank you so much that you could have us here today to talk about all that's going on right now and compare it to what's gone on in the past, and know, God, that you have a plan, and that your story is already written, and what we think is new has been done over and over and over again. You've like the Bible says, nothing is new under the sun. And it gives us comfort, God, to know that you are in control, and that we as humans just fall short and just repeat our same, silly mistakes. So, help us relax more, help us love each other more, take time with our kids and families to enjoy life. And we just praise you for the opportunity to do that. In your name, we praise you. Amen.
Amen. Thanks for that. Thanks for the prayer, and we appreciate you. And I'm sure you'll come back. I'm sure that you'll be back, God
Absolutely.
willing. And so
Absolutely.
until next time, I'll say good night, and thanks again.
All right. See ya.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Peace. All right, guys, I'm going to play a song, and I will say good night to you. And I appreciate you guys, and I'm sure you already hit the like, and I don't even need to tell you. I love you guys. Peace and love of the Lord. Bye.
Yeah, Destiny Lab, a little blast from the past. BTY, Brandon Thomas in the house. Want you to dance to this music. Come on and praise his name, and at the same time move it. Don't think about it, just do it. Come on and feel the beat from head to feet. Move it. Grab the rhythm and use it. Come on and dance to the beat and step into it now. Move it. Glorify God with your movements. Come on and move, everybody move, everybody move
If
it.
you wanna feel good, then get wise. Pray for the water in his hands to baptize. If you got the boy and don't wanna give it up, let me pour you the truth so you can drink it up. Taste what your heart and soul have been missing. See what your eyes can do with new vision. And you can see the glory of all and get yourself saved. Never too late to start thinking the right way. I'm on a road because the touch is so gracious. Man, he never even placed a thought on what he gave us. But don't delay if you're caught on the fence now. Jump to the side of the right and get the know-how. And watch the sparks fly in your system. And see the many ways it changes how you live it. You want it? I got it? Then give me a nod. And let's feel the beat of a pulse that feels God.
Want you to dance to this music. Come on and praise his name, and at the same time move it. Don't think about it, just do it. Come on and feel the beat from head to feet. Move it. Grab the rhythm and use it. Come on and dance to this beat and step into it now. Move it. Glorify God with your movements. Come on and move, everybody move, everybody move it.
Caliber, a lyrical, spiritual pleasure marsh pits. Destiny Lab, taking all your ears hostage. We are fired up, let the torch burn for the Lord, oh Lord, you got us through this dark world war. You try to battle us, believe you in us, bro. Pair of a spiritual blessing manifest in dead souls. Just like the nitrous injector glow. Blast flows and cast modes like we're already national. Pass the micro, let me come on in. Breaking obstacles, for bumps called sin. One step closer and the day will come. Heavenly family united as one. We rip the hits and sweep the hits with passion. Destiny Lab, counterattack the dark reaction. For the souls that are in need of the spiritual. Take your last chance, listen to this material.
Want you to dance to this music. Come on and praise his name, and at the same time move it. Don't think about it, just do it. Come on and feel the beat from head to feet. Move it. Grab the rhythm and use it. Come on and dance to this beat and step into it now. Move it. Glorify God with
corner. No excuse, so you smolder. You steaming mad cause I'm exposed, a little demon on your shoulder. Folded arms with your nose in the air, like you don't care, but deep inside you know you're full of despair. Thought no one knew about the walls you built around you years ago. Now they cracked and crumble like a Jericho. First trumpet call cracks appear to cover y'all. Facade exposed from head to toes as the boulders fall. Now you're naked like a baby, exposed for who you are. Look in the mirror, show your scars. No more skeletons and closets, secrets under surfaces. Search the universe to find its purposes. Want you to dance to this music. Go on and praise his name, and at the same time move it. Don't think about it, just do